Yes, of course. I've been here for 50 years at least, 54 years exactly. And I do feel European, but especially since the states, the different countries of Europe have started to unite. When I first came here, I got here in 1965 for 1 year to get to know France. But I found work here, and so I stayed on. But also I knew a lot about, already I felt close to Europe because of my father, who was a musician, and he played music from Germany, France, Italy, England as well. And my mother was a Latin teacher. So when you learn about Rome, you're close to Europe, because of course Italy is part of Europe. So I didn't feel that I was too far away, even though I was in the United States. I was very interested to do theater, and one of the plays I acted in was St. Joan by George Bernard Shaw, an Irish writer. And that was a wonderful wonderful play, and so I got interested in the history of Europe. That was the talking about Joan of Arc. It was a very difficult time for Europe, but it was the war that was the war that lasted 100 years between England and France. So that was something that got me interested in the history of Europe. Plus the fact, as I said, I was interested in the history of Rome and Jules Caesar, who invaded. Wasn't called France yet, but Jules Caesar was here. So as an American, I knew a lot about Europe. The worst moment was the Second World War, and very recent history. I think the worst moment is the Brexit, which happened 3 years ago. maybe there won't be a Brexit. It's so complicated, we don't know. But anyway, I think it's too bad that we have this trouble with Europe. England is very important, and I'm sure a lot of Englishmen are really disappointed by what's happening, but maybe they can do another vote. I'd love to have them do another vote, because I'm sure that they'd stay in Europe. When Germany and France got things going to unite Europe. All these countries were separated, very separated, because we started talking about the United States of Europe. Well, it's closer for it's not as easy for the Europeans to get together because they all speak different languages. But even so, things are a lot better than when I got here. When I got here in 1965, there was the people weren't very close in the different countries. So I was delighted when they were starting to unite, Europe starting to unite. That was a beautiful idea, and I hope that someday we can talk about, we could really use the word United States of Europe. Because I'm a musician and I'm very close to the Afro-American music. I play blues on the guitar, and I play on the banjo. I play things that are close to African music. And so what was wonderful for me to be in Europe was that I was able to get to know Africa. I've sung, I've done concerts in almost every African country. And that's one of the reasons I stayed here, because United States is a wonderful place, but it's so big, it's a continent, and maybe that's why people are not as aware of what's happening in the world. Whereas Europe, there's several countries, and France is a small country, but France is very open, very interested in what's happening in the world. And most of the European countries, that's the case. And that's why it was wonderful to be able to be closer to the African cultures that I got to know. I played in Senegal, Nigeria, Cameroon, Gabon, and it was a wonderful experience. And that was because I was here. I was here in Europe. Well, that would be wonderful to have them even closer together, of course. But I think that if you have to just talk about one thing, I think the most important thing is that Europe become more sensitive and more reactive for ecology. I'd like I'd like Europe to be an example for the rest of the world as far as ecology is concerned. France has been very far behind, and now I'm so glad, because France is coming back towards the rest of the European states, there are many European states which are more ecological oriented than France, but now France is coming back. But to talk about Europe in general, it's something I'd like to see for all of Europe to be really close to preserving our environment.